How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
I'm Pratik Cherian.
And welcome to our review of WandaVision, the first two episodes. Pratik, what did you think of this episode?
So before I talk about what I thought about the episode, let me just say this. Seeing the Marvel scrawl in front of it after how long without one was just... It was cathartic in a way that I was not expecting it to be.
I even said, I was like, man, I wasn't even expecting there to be a Marvel opening intro theme thing like that.
Yeah, and then seeing that with the knowledge that I'm getting something new that I've never seen before was very, very exciting. I was pumped from the jump.
It made me realize how much I missed it. Man, what has it been, 2 years now since we've gotten any MCU content?
2019, because it would have been Far From Home was the last MCU movie we got to see. So
and this wasn't even supposed to be the Phase 4 opener, but I'm really glad it was, honestly.
In a lot of ways, it's perfect that the very first MCU foray into television is this homage to television from times past. That's just perfect. I don't know why they didn't think to lead with this from the jump.
Yeah, right off the bat, I was not expecting... We're going to hover around spoilers for a little bit and then come back to it, but I was not expecting it to be as sitcom-y, if that's a word, as it was. Because, I was expecting there to be something, but just only...
So, in a lot of ways, I thought that... the marketing almost did a disservice, because if I had walked into this blind, not knowing what I was about to expect, someone just told me this is a WandaVision show based in the MCU, this is not what I would have been expecting. And in a lot of ways, the Wanda and Vision in a 1950s sitcom, that's exactly what the first episode was, to a T.
100%. I couldn't help but wonder if they're kind of stringing us along a little bit too much.
So I think I remember reading that the first episode, they actually did film in front of a live audience. So it kind of makes sense that first one was very predictable.
It was funny.
It was funny. It was
sure.
good. It was, and especially leading up to this, I've been watching a lot of 1950s sitcoms. So it just felt natural.
This fell into place perfectly.
Fell into place perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the effects where it felt like things were on strings and whatnot when she was moving around the dishes and stuff.
The effects, the style of humor, everything was just perfect right there.
I do still think, though, that they stayed in that little bubble for too long. I kind of wanted a bit more of what's really going on behind the scenes. But
And that's why I think it was really good that Disney gave us 2 episodes instead of 1. Because I feel like my outlook on the show, if I just watched that first episode versus watching both of them...
I would have been furious. I would have been so mad. Could you imagine it ending after that first episode and you being like, what? Especially because they're so short. The episodes are 30 minutes?
It's sitcom length, yeah.
Yeah. We thought Mando was short.
Yeah, no, it was, that first one was very much of this is a sitcom. And they did give us a small, tiny, there's more going on here, but nothing close to what happened in the second one.
Yeah, so. No. Well, first of all, first episode or second episode, what do you think?
As far as which one I like better?
Yeah, which one do you like better?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think the first one was more of a sitcom, and I kind of enjoyed the ride a little bit more.
Yeah, I
the
agree.
second one was more of all right, we're going to tease the mystery, and we're going to we're going to actually go places, and this isn't going to be just another episode.
I agree. The first one I definitely enjoyed, but I was like, all right, come on, let's get to where we're going. And then the second one kind of is where I felt it dragging on a bit, and I was like, are we really going to wait this long? How many episodes? We only have 9 episodes. They're going to be 30 minutes apiece, it looks like. How long are they going to drag us before we get what's going on,
Yeah. This is all... I've been reading and looking into this show for so long that where I read what all kind of jumbles together. But I think I remember them saying that the last 3 episodes are going to be more what you expect from the MCU, and the first 6 are going to be this foray through television. So that kind of gives me some hope in that we're not going to be stuck here for too long, because instead of the 9, all 9 episodes, it's 6 episodes where we're working with.
I'd be willing to bet the next episode we're going to get some big reveals and big stuff happening. I just think you can't give us 3 episodes of just a sitcom and just some... Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, no, it's definitely... I think it's one of those shows where we were so excited for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really one of those shows where you kind of have to enjoy the ride. In some way, I'm glad that they're stringing it out, but I do think this is going to be, just based on the first 2 episodes, I think this is going to be one that's going to be so much more enjoyable to binge than it is to watch it in this week-by-week fashion.
I was thinking about that the whole time. I don't know that I feel like once this is all said and done, I feel like I'll be fast forwarding through the first 2 episodes, honestly. Just because it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup.
Yeah, well, and if the payoff works, then I think the setup will be worth it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think if the payoff is disappointing, or if we're like, well, it wasn't it wasn't worth all the setup, then yeah, absolutely.
I think if Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen didn't, this is the best they've been in these characters for sure. If they didn't kill it like they did, I think I might have even been bored for some things. Like the line delivery of those jokes were what was getting me, because the jokes were cheesy dad jokes that were from the 50s or whatever, but it's supposed to be, and it felt so. I don't know. It felt so MCU. I was like, man, they really always have the best writers for these guys. Like even when we know it's cheesy, it's supposed to be corny, and they still had some really good jokes.
No, this felt like a Paul Bettany vehicle, and then I was just thinking back to how much I didn't enjoy Elizabeth Olsen in Age of Ultron to where she is now, where every second she was on screen, I was just like enjoying it.
The Sokovia jokes were funny.
The Sokovia jokes were hilarious, actually. Like it was great. No, their acting and the overall effects of putting us in that time frame, I think, are what sold the show for me.
No, for sure. All right, do we want to get into spoilers now?
Sure, let's get into spoilers.
Catherine Hahn is the big bad, right?
Kind of feels like it.
Like, all right, first question for you, Pratik. Who's the hand in the monitor watching the show? Who was that?
I assume that's just an agent of S.W.O.R.D.
Oh, you think it's just a random agent?
I don't know that it's anybody specific.
I think that's Catherine Hahn. That's my theory.
But she's in there with them.
Who's to say she can't be everywhere?
Wait, so do you think the person watching them is the big bad?
Yes.
Ooh. See, I disagree with you.
I think Wanda has suffered some sort of big trauma, and well, obviously we know the trauma unless it's more. And so whenever she starts to think about it, like how somebody would use drugs, she's just to escape the reality. She's just.
I mean, I don't know anything about that.
She's just. Well, read a book, Pratik.
What are drugs?
What is drugs? But I think she's using like whenever she sees something that reminds her of the trauma, maybe the beekeeper scenario. Let's go back. Let's start this over. I'm creating my life. So in a sense, she's her own villain. But I do think there is a big bad overseeing all of this, and I feel like Catherine Hahn has been not so subtly hinting that it's her, right? Just the way she is. I don't know. It's just the cadence of her voice when she speaks and everything. It seems like she knows more than everyone else.
A little bit. She's also the only character that we didn't really see break at any point. Like if you look at in the first episode with Vision's boss and that scene where the boss's wife, Mrs. Hart, where she's going, stop it, and she turns to look at Wanda and says, stop it. Like there's clearly a break. They realize that this is what, like, she's the one causing all of this.
Yeah.
And
even with Dottie.
Even with Dottie, it was the same kind of thing. And Agnes, Catherine Hahn's character, is the only one that we never see do that. So I think that lends it.
I think you kind of do. Like when Wanda I can't think of exactly when, but Wanda will say something weird and she'll kind of just like pause like, oh, that wasn't the right line. And then she'll go into what the line is supposed to be to keep the sitcom, charade up.
Which lends some thought to your whole that she knows more than everybody else. I have theories on this show.
Okay, go ahead. This is what the podcast is for.
So here's what I think is happening. Okay,
all right.
It seems like S.W.O.R.D., which for those of you not versed in the comics, is the think of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they handle outer space threats.
Okay, what's S.W.O.R.D. stand for?
I don't remember.
Space,
sentient,
warriors,
warning,
okay.
I don't remember. Don't ask me to keep track of all of the acronyms. Okay, they can't even decide what S.H.I.E.L.D. stands for. It changes like era to era.
Sorry,
but no, so I think something happened to Wanda, and I think that S.W.O.R.D. is monitoring it, and I think they're trying to break into this delusion. Because the voice on the radio says, who's doing this to you? Who did this to you? Which seems to imply that, at least from their perspective, Wanda isn't doing it herself. Somebody did this, okay? And I think that's also why you see the beekeeper trying to break in. There's that like helicopter like with the S.W.O.R.D. logo on it in the second episode that shows up there. I think that's them trying to pierce pierce the bubble. Okay, and
Sword is trying to pierce the bubble, or
I think
Sword
so.
is-
I think they're trying to get into it.
But doesn't it seem like Sword is in charge of all of the whole operation?
I think they're I think Wanda's created her own like reality bubble that they can't get into, and they're observing it, trying to think almost like Thor's hammer in the first Thor movie, how Shield like set everything up, but they weren't in charge there; they were just observing. I think that's kind of what Sword's doing here. They're setting up, they're quarantining the area so people can't get in, but they don't actually know what's happening. That's why they're asking Wanda what's going on.
So do you think she is in some sort of facility right now?
I don't know where she is
Because you noticed the
Yeah.
Strucker watch on the commercial, right? Like
Which was a great Easter egg, but I don't know. That could also
that could
just
be something in her psyche.
Yeah,
I was
it could
thinking
also
that
be
too.
something in her psyche.
Okay.
No, I actually think because we know that this ties directly into Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I wonder if this isn't Nightmare, who is rumored to be the villain for Doctor Strange, using Wanda's powers or doing this to Wanda, scaring Wanda into creating this.
Maybe.
And it's an illusion that Wanda would rather create. This might be a defense mechanism. Because Nightmare lives off of fear,
Right.
and this might be Wanda's reaction to her fear and trauma is creating this super ideal world that she's in. That's my theory.
So like you think Nightmare is keeping her like captive and
Or at the very least trying to get her, and this is her way of protecting herself. It's one or the other. Because Wanda clearly is like, it's her powers that are fueling all of this. The question is she doing that out of defense? Is she doing that voluntarily? Is this like, what is this?
are we thinking that or assuming that the trauma is everything we've seen prior, like in Infinity War and Endgame, right? Because she says you took everything from me. It's
Sure,
the
yeah.
Thanos, like-
I think it's probably fueled by that. And if we go with my Nightmare theory, then it's him using her brokenness from those events to attack her. And that's why this is her way of coping. That's what I think is happening. And that's how I think it ties into Doctor Strange too.
Okay. You mentioned the voice we hear going, Wanda,
Yeah,
who's
through
doing
the
this to
radio.
you. Did we recognize this voice?
I didn't. Did you?
It kind of sounded like Bucky, but just wouldn't make sense to me. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I do have a theory for who I think the beekeeper is, even though it's probably not. But I
ahead.
was pointing this out. Just the facial structure of the person because we paused it and like rewatched it just to see. It looked like Benedict Cumberbatch to me. So I
disagree, but-
yeah, I don't know. It's probably not, but that could be Doctor Strange. I don't know why Doctor Strange would be in a beekeeper outfit.
Yeah.
Here's my question. You're more versed in the comics. Do beekeepers have anything to do with Vision or Wanda or anybody?
No, but
Sword?
no. There's two different. So beekeepers traditionally are what are kind of what the AIM costumes always are modeled off of. They wear like these yellow beekeeper-esque type of suits. I think that might be more of a red herring than anything else. I almost wonder if the beekeeper suit isn't Wanda's reaction to just protective gear that's been altered to fit this world in a way.
Oh, right.
You know, because a beekeeper crawling on
Why
a
would
suit
it be?
doesn't-
Yeah.
and why were there bees around it? That's why I think like all of that is odd enough where I don't think that's what he was wearing before he got
This
there.
whole show is odd enough for sure. This
Yeah.
is definitely the most different thing. Maybe Thor Ragnarok. I still think this is the most different thing Marvel, the MCU proper has.
You
put
could
out.
argue Thor Ragnarok is similar in vibes to Guardians. I would agree. I think this is the most different thing
Yeah.
that I've seen from Marvel.
But like, even with Thor Ragnarok, they took Thor and kind of made him a different Thor. With this, it's still the same Wanda and Vision. Like you can still see them in there, and it's definitely the essence of those characters. It doesn't seem like it's those actors playing different versions of themselves, even though they are. It's very weird, but that's WandaVision, I guess.
I guess.
All right. Any other spoilery thoughts?
Not really. No.
So, okay. Are we thinking that we're going to get any of the answers to any of these questions in the next episode?
No, I think we're in for we're gonna uncover this piece by piece by piece. I mean, the next episode's episode 3. There's no way
Right.
we know where we're at a third
I
of the
cannot
way.
wait, though. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy to be talking about Marvel again. Honestly, I missed doing the pod. The Mando reviews ended and was like, just have nothing to do with my life. But this, man, I could honestly talk about this for hours. So I just anything else you wanna throw on there?
No, I don't think so. I'm ready to score it.
I'm
be
ready to
quite
score.
honest.
So are we scoring them separately?
Let's score them separately. I think that's good.
All right, you go ahead.
All right. Man, I actually hadn't thought about how I was going to
No.
do this. I think I would give It's interesting because it's like, do I score this like the way I would score a sitcom? Do I score this the way I would score like a Marvel movie,
I think
drama?
you gotta score it the way you would score any MCU project.
Yeah,
honestly, I think what we do is we score it based on our enjoyment of it. So however you enjoy it, did you enjoy it on a 10? Did you enjoy it on a 0?
You know what? I think the first episode I'm going to give it a 9. Honestly, I enjoyed myself a lot. I think a lot of the problems that I had with it were my own impatience and not anything the show was doing. And that's on me. I can't fault the show for that.
It was really well directed.
It was well directed. It was well shot. The acting was great. The comedy wasn't like modern comedy, but it was still really funny.
But that was what was genius. It was like 50s comedy, but it worked so well. And there's little innuendos in there for people of our time too. It
was good stuff. I think I'm going to give the first episode a 9. What about you?
I think I'm right there with you. I was going to give it an 8, but what you're saying about the impatience thing, it might just be us. I'm kind of with that, so I think I will give it a 9. There wasn't really anything wrong with the episode. Like I said, it might be skippable depending on how the rest of the season goes. Maybe not the first episode, but probably that second part.
The second one might be skippable.
Other than the beekeeper stuff, I mean, they did a smart thing by putting necessary parts in there so that you have to go back and watch it if you want to get the full story. But I feel like they really did stretch on too much with the sitcom, so that's why I'm knocking it a little bit.
All right, so what would you score it?
I'm still going to give it a 9, though.
You're going to give the second one a 9, too?
The second one, I'm probably going to give a 7.
7?
Yeah, just because it was a bit... I was, like, looking at my watch a couple times. I enjoyed it, and I just didn't enjoy every second of it like I wanted to.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I would give the second episode... I'm waffling between a 7 and an 8. Mm-hmm. I think I might go with an 8 just because...
The jokes were better?
Paul Bettany's drunk vision was hilarious.
That was great.
He wasn't drunk, but that's what he was playing, and it was fantastic. I loved every second of it. So that by itself is worth a point.
No, Paul Bettany is worth a point.
Right,
he was great. So was Wanda. So are we thinking the next episode is going to be like Full House era? Or that's 70s, this next one, right?
I'm thinking next one's 70s,
okay.
Because first episode was very 50s. Second one, I want to say that intro was like an homage to Bewitched. Because it looked like that. So I would say the second one was probably more 60s.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to get like late 60s, early 70s. Don't ask me to pin down an exact sitcom yet.
I was about to say, what kind of sitcom? Because I'm thinking, we went from like The Honeymooners or like I Love Lucy to like, what would you say, the 70s?
Or the 60s?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It kind of felt like Dick Van Dyke or like,
kind of like that,
or like like the Lucy Show or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Thanks for joining us, guys. Do you want to take us out?
Sure. Thank you for joining us, guys. Check back with us next week when we review the next episode of WandaVision, and like and subscribe if you want more.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys.
See you guys.